What day is that? Okay, we're back up. So today we have Colonel Dick Hobbs. He's on for a special. He just did a timeline for Timeline of Success, and you'll find that in episode 130. We're doing a special episode 131. We're going to talk briefly about his latest book, which is Islam versus Civilization. He'll be speaking at the Republican Men's Club at the Atlantis on Thursday of this week, which I'm not sure what day is that? See, the day is the 15th.
Tuesday the 20th.
I mean, excuse me, Thursday. Tuesday the 20th. I should know that. Tuesday the 20th. So he'll be speaking on Tuesday the 20th. See, I can cut that on the iTunes and the Stitcher Radio, but I can't cut it on the live show. So going on, this is a very controversial issue. It's an area I've had a little bit of background in study, but not to the extent you have. You have to really listen to your timeline to understand how you came about to understand and be so involved in the Middle East. But if you could summarize in about 30 seconds, what's your background to be an expert in this area?
Well, I have spent over 55 years in the international arena, starting back in the days when I went to the British Jungle School in Malaya, and then I went to France on scholarship and studied. I taught at the military academy and 2 tours in Vietnam, and I served in the State Department and the Pentagon in international operations. And then when I retired, I worked in international operations for a large corporation. So I've been involved in it, including the Middle East, for many, many years, and I have studied it rather extensively. And so this last book is a culmination. After the earlier books, people kept asking me, what should we do? So this book, I tried to set it up, what should we do? But the first half, I put it in 2 parts. The first half, I figured most people are really not that knowledgeable, and I'd better refresh their memories and have a synopsis of Islam, which I now call Mohammedism. And Islamists are Muhammadans, and the book is the Quran with a K and not with a Q. And Allah is not God, it is Mu-Allah. So I set it up that way, and I did the first part of the book to bring people up to date and just some of the history and the background of Islam. Part 2 then is, what can civilization do? And first I said you need a strategy. The second part was Europe, which is Eurabia, which with the refugee crisis is coming to an enormous crisis. Europe is committing suicide, and we have people who want to help us commit suicide because our administration now wants 100,000 Syrians to be brought in.
Oh, Syrians, yeah.
And this year, and 100,000 next year. And the problem is that the Europeans are encountering is that 80% of the people coming in are not from Syria. And the question is whether these people will assimilate. And so we get into the major problem of how do you deal with this? And it starts with Europe, which has an immediate problem. Ours is a little bit further down the road, but we are down the same slippery slope.
And that's very controversial.
It is, because there is no nice solution. There's no nice solution. It's brutal. Europe is either going to become a Muslim continent, or it's going to maintain the beautiful Europe that we love and knew. And those two are very difficult. They say they're bringing in these refugees because they're dying in their population. Their populations are going down with low birth rates. There's economic argument that that's not true, but that's a different subject. They say they want these people for labor. We've seen it in Paris and in Amsterdam and in Denmark and in Sweden that the people are not assimilating. They're killing people. The rape things in Norway, all rapes, almost 100% are non-Norwegians, mostly Muslim. The Muslims are generating enormous amount of hate. They're starting to get some blowback in Europe. They're beginning to get, they've been on the multicultural kick for several years, 20 years. They've finally all seen it's an absolute failure. Even Angela Merkel finally denounced it. President of France denounced it. They've all denounced it. This is crazy. This is mean parallel societies. Well, we don't care whether they assimilate them. Let have parallel society. They speak their language, have their mosques, and do what they want. Well, yeah, you saw that in Paris. You have burn everything down. If you try to go to Charles de Gaulle Airport on the north side of Paris, you're going to go through communities where the firemen and the police will not go in. they're scared to death. They got to go in and force, or they get beaten up and bombed and hit with stones or fire bombs or anything else. So assimilation is the key. And that is the whole question of Islam. And that is the thing.
But now in the United States, we have many, many Muslims here who are peaceful, live under our
for the moment. You never know. If he's a true Muslim, a real Muslim, he hates infidels and he's told to kill them. If he doesn't believe that, he's a Mino. He's a Muslim in name only. So he's not a real Muslim. In that case, he's an apostate. And the penalty for apostasy in Islam is death. Well, so these guys are in a real tough position. They either just be quiet and don't say anything. Go along and get along. Don't say anything. Don't go to the mosque. Don't do anything. Don't make them any big noise. The question is, what would happen if they were in a position where the Muslims do have power? Will they turn on you? We're seeing this regularly in Europe, and it's very tough.
Let's name the countries where they have power: Iran, the Islamic State of Afghanistan, Iraq, the Northern Africa.
The Muslim world goes from the Atlantic to the Pacific and Indonesia.
In Indonesia, right.
And so northern Indonesia and Aceh right now, they're having a battle because Aceh, the northern province of Indonesia, is under Sharia, a law of Muhammad.
Right, but that's not the government, though. The government and the majority of the people.
No. Well, the majority of the people are Muslims. The country has gone Muslim. The country was a Hindu country, and the king or the guy 100 years ago allowed a mosque to be built. And in less than 100 years, the country was gone from Hindu to Muslim.
You know, that happened in Afghanistan.
And this is what's happened to every one of these countries. When they've moved in, they've taken over, and the country has then gone up, 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 till you have 100%. You have 100% in Saudi Arabia, close to 100% in Iran, close to 100% in Iraq, very high percentage in Turkey, high percentage in Pakistan, Afghanistan, Indonesia. It's
the government.
It's almost irreversible, and when it is reversed, which was in Spain, Ferdinand and Isabella kicked them out.
But they invaded, though. That was different.
Well, but the country they converted, and the only reason they got it stopped was Ferdinand and Isabella kicked them out. So that's Andalusia, which is they're still part of the Muslim world as far as they're concerned. If you look at the map that the Islamic State Daesh wants, it includes Spain, it includes Southeast Europe, which they controlled under the Ottoman Empire. So I think Americans need to pay attention to the idea that Islam is not a religion. Unfortunately, we have been trained, beautifully trained, to tolerate religion. We're very tolerant people. Islam is totally intolerant. And that is the problem. It really is the problem. We tolerate religion. It is not a religion. It is a totalitarian ideology with a facade of religion. And it's more comparable to communism and Nazism. And we know how to deal with communism, and that's the way we should deal with Mohammedanism.
But a lot of Muslims do not practice that way.
Oh, I know.
And they don't have 4 wives, especially if you're in a Western country.
I know. So he's a Mino.
And the idea of the 4 wives, by the way, is sort of the initial concept that goes back is their charity to take care of their brother's wife if something happens to his brother.
Well, not really, but okay.
I mean, it's evolved, and it's a way to take care of folks too, in family. They're very close in family.
Well, that's partially accurate, but it's more that Muhammad, he was a sex fiend, and he loved, he had somewhere between 15 and 25 wives. And his revelations, I mean, anybody who would study Islam would say, this is a crock. Excuse the term, but you have to think about it. Look at the revelations. They're so convenient. They're so convenient. He gets a problem, whether it's his wives or whether it's them fighting or whatever else it is. Oh, I have a revelation. It's like, to put it in a modern context, it's like he steps outside the door, pulls out his cell phone, dials up Allah and says, boss, I got a problem. And Allah says, Muhammad, do what you think is best. Thanks, boss. Talk to you later. And he goes, I just got a revelation and I'm permitted to do this. He has a revelation that says he can have any number of wives. Doesn't apply to anybody else. He has a revelation that he can marry his daughter-in-law. Doesn't apply to, or it does apply to, because he revoked the law that you're not supposed to do that. But it goes on and on.
Let me finish up today with an example of the three types of Muslims I've worked with. One's not a Muslim anymore. One was from Canada. One was from Afghanistan and Kabul, Kabul's son, actually, poor. One was an American. I had it when I was with the French. I worked with all three of them. They all spoke more interpreters. And the American was the most dangerous. And he definitely had some traits of the extreme Muslim that we were worried about. And the reason why I say this, that same discussion you just had, the three of them were having a discussion. And my interpreter, my personal interpreter, was from Kabul, Kabul's son, actually, a very poor family, but very good. And he worked his way up. We got, by the way, he's in the United States now. We got him out of the country. I'm Marine and myself. It took 4 or 5 years. And then we had a Canadian who was not a Muslim anymore. He said he was an atheist. We were scared to death that he'd get killed. But the American threatened the other two. By the way, we had the French intelligence folks and investigators.
But see, you're just reinforcing it. Saying, the one guy that you really can't trust, and who is probably the most Muslim of the three,
he's a hothead,
is the American.
Yeah, his father was killed in Afghanistan when he was 8. And somehow he got out. I don't know how he got out, but he got out.
But that's the problem. And so you've got the problem of anyone who says he is really a Muslim. If he's really a Muslim, you should be killed. If he's not going to kill you, he's an apostate and he should be killed. He is in a predicament. He's in a predicament.
Yeah.
Because under their own theories, if he doesn't kill you, he should be killed because he is violating and he's an apostate.
Our advisors were in with the battalions of Afghans, and they didn't, early on we didn't fear getting killed. We fought alongside of them. Later on with the French, we were getting shot in the back. But still, I still worked with the Afghans and worked with the commanders, and they were fine to work with. I trusted them. I mean, I didn't trust everybody in the battalion, but I trusted the command. I had to.
Oh, I know. I have great friends all across the Middle East, but most of them, I would have to say, or I don't know, are probably Muslims in name only. I don't think they go to the mosque, but they're not down praying and looking like imbeciles, bowing down 5 times a day. I can't think of anything more stupid than doing that.
I wouldn't say that.
Oh, I do.
You don't want to insult a religion, though, either.
It's not a religion. It's a cult. It's the cult of Muhammad.
See, that's where you get in trouble.
Okay.
On a cult.
It is a cult.
That's where you get in trouble. See,
I'll show you. Okay, I'll show you. Chapter 2 is the cult of Muhammad.
So we'll get the book. That's a good way to finish. And we're going to record this. This will be live on the 20th, right? It's the 20th. I don't know the date.
Okay.
I'm going to record it. It's going to be live, and it'll be come on at 12 o'clock Pacific time on the 20th of this month, October. So you can watch it live.
Tune in and watch for the melee.
RepublicanMen'sClub.org. You can see it there, and we'll have it on timelines, and we'll have it all different websites, even Podcasters Home. So Colonel Hobbs, Dick Hobbs, retired. Thank you for your service. Thank you for all your writing. It's going to be interesting. You are controversial. I have a lot of friends who are Muslims, and they're not real happy.
All I deal with is facts. If they can disprove me, I'll change. If they can't, they've got to.
So
they got to change.
Dick Hobbs, class of 54. Bill Conrad, class of 80 from West Point. Thank you. Thank you for your time today. Take care.
All righty. Can I run?
Yeah, you can run. By the way, Colonel Hobbs, let's tell him about your situation. Murphy's in the acting right now. Well, you have your plumbing blew up in your house. The dishwasher's going out.
Yeah, last night the dishwasher's going thump, 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 so she wants to get the dishwasher.
And you're over here, so thank you.
She wants to go buy a dishwasher.